This single small coin may look ordinary, but the 2009 Lincoln penny holds one of the most important stories in American history. It was struck to honor the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent. Design and its details tell the story of the life of a man who changed a nation forever. The 2009 Lincoln 1-cent coin is not just a simple piece of copper-plated zinc, it is a commemorative symbol of the life and legacy of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States of America, and it also marks a historic moment in American coinage, because it celebrated two important anniversaries: the 200th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, who was born in the year 1809, and the 100th anniversary, the first introduction of the Lincoln cent, which was first released in 1909, when the United States Mint introduced the design with the portrait of Lincoln created by Victor David Brenner. And this design was significant because it was the very first time in the history of American coinage that a real person's portrait appeared on a circulating coin, and that person was none other than Abraham Lincoln, who had guided the nation through the Civil War and ended the institution of slavery. In 2009, the United States Mint decided to honor both the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth and the centennial of the Lincoln penny by producing 4 special reverse designs, each one telling a chapter in the life of Abraham Lincoln, and these designs were struck for circulation and also as collector versions in copper compositions. The first design is called the Birth and Early Childhood in Kentucky design. It shows a simple log cabin representing the humble birthplace of Abraham Lincoln in Hardin County, Kentucky in 1809. This image reminds Americans that one of the greatest leaders in history came from the most modest of beginnings, with no wealth and no privilege, only determination and the spirit of hard work. The second design is the Formative Years in Indiana reverse, which depicts a young Lincoln sitting on a log reading a book with a workman's tools nearby. This symbolizes his youth in Indiana between 1816 and 1830, where he educated himself through reading while also working hard with his hands splitting rails and farming. And this design emphasizes the self-taught nature of Lincoln's character and how his hunger for knowledge prepared him for the leadership role he would one day assume. The third design is the Professional Life in Illinois reverse. It shows Lincoln standing in front of the Illinois State Capitol building in Springfield, where he served as a legislator and later worked as a lawyer between 1830 and 1861. This part of the story highlights Lincoln's rise in public service, his growing influence in the political world, and his reputation as an honest lawyer who believed in justice and fairness. The fourth and final design is the Presidency in Washington, D.C. reverse. It shows the half-completed dome of the United States Capitol under construction, which symbolizes both the unfinished nation and the leadership of Abraham Lincoln, who guided the Union through the Civil War years from 1861 till his assassination in 1865. This powerful design stands as a reminder that under Lincoln's presidency, the nation was tested but preserved, and that the dome itself, completed after his death, became a symbol of unity and endurance. Collectors immediately took interest in these coins because they were struck in multiple forms. The standard circulation strikes were made at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with billions produced for circulation. But in addition, the San Francisco Mint struck special proof versions, and the Mint also produced collector versions in the original bronze alloy of 95% copper, which had been discontinued in 1982. These copper collector coins were included in mint sets and proof sets, which made them highly desirable for numismatists and historians alike. The 2009 Lincoln cents also represent an important moment in American culture because they connected millions of people to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln through everyday coinage. Children and adults who received these coins and change could hold in their hands a reminder of Lincoln's journey from a log cabin in Kentucky to the presidency in Washington, and this educational impact was one of the goals of the U.S. Mint when it introduced the program. As time passed, certain varieties and errors of the 2009 Lincoln cents began to draw attention from collectors. For example, double die reverses in the formative years design or coins with striking mistakes such as off-centers and die cracks created interest in the coin market, and some of these errors have sold for significant premiums above face value. And this shows how even modern cents can become treasures depending on rarity and demand. The story of the 2009 Lincoln cent also ties into the broader history of the Lincoln penny itself, which has been in continuous production since 1909, making it the longest-running design in United States coinage history. Victor David Brenner's original portrait has remained on the obverse of the coin for over a century with only small modifications, and this enduring design reflects the deep respect Americans have for Abraham Lincoln as a symbol of freedom, democracy, and perseverance. The 2009 Lincoln penny story begins with the decision of the United States Congress and the Mint to honor the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This decision was not just about creating a new design, it was about educating the public about the life and contributions of Abraham Lincoln, who was one of the most influential figures in American and world history. To understand why this coin was created, we need to remember that in 1909, the United States Mint first introduced the Lincoln cent as a way to honor the centennial of Lincoln's birth. At that time, the president was Theodore Roosevelt, and he wanted to beautify American coinage. He believed that coins should reflect the greatness of the nation, and he invited artists like Augustus St. Gaudens and Victor David Brenner to redesign coins. Brenner created the portrait of Lincoln, which became the first portrait of a real person to appear on circulating US coinage. Before that, coins carried symbols like Liberty Eagles or wreaths, but never a real president, so the 1909 Lincoln cent was groundbreaking and symbolic. When the year 2009 approached, the Mint decided that this moment needed to be recognized with the modern tribute, so they designed 4 new reverses while keeping the original Brenner portrait of Lincoln on the obverse. The reverses told a chronological story of Lincoln from childhood to presidency. This was also important for education, as schools across the country used the coins as teaching tools. The first reverse, the birth and early childhood in Kentucky design, was created by artist Richard Masters and sculpted by Jim Licoretz. It depicted the log cabin, which was symbolic not only of Lincoln's birth, but of the American dream, the idea that someone from humble beginnings could rise to greatness. Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809, in a one-room log cabin near Hodgenville, Kentucky. His family was poor and life was extremely difficult, but his childhood shaped his character and gave him resilience. The second reverse, the formative years in Indiana design, was created by Charles Vickers. It depicted Lincoln as a boy reading while taking a break from rail splitting. This symbolized the hard labor and self-education that defined his youth in Indiana. After the family moved there in 1816, he worked on the farm, but he loved reading books and educating himself. This was the foundation of his future success, and it shows the American value of self-improvement. The third reverse, the professional life in Illinois design, was created by Joel Iskowitz and sculpted by Don Everhart. It showed Lincoln in front of the Illinois state capitol. This represented his years as a lawyer and legislator in Springfield, Illinois. He built his reputation as Honest Abe, a lawyer who stood for fairness and integrity. He served 4 terms in the Illinois House of Representatives and became known for his debating skills and political vision. The fourth reverse, the Presidency in Washington, D.C. design, was created by Susan Gamble and sculpted by Joseph Mena. It showed the United States. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that tells the story of a nation, a coin that celebrates the life of a president who changed the course of history, and a coin that collectors treasure because of its rarity, beauty, and the secrets it carries. Today, we uncover the fascinating story of the 2009 Lincoln Penny Gold-Plated Edition. The 2009 Lincoln Penny Gold-Plated is not an official release by the United States Mint, but it is one of the most talked about collector pieces in modern coin collecting history. To understand why this coin holds so much attention, we must travel back to the roots of the Lincoln cent. The year 1909 was the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and the United States Mint introduced the Lincoln cent, designed by Victor David Brenner. This was the first American coin to feature the portrait of a real historical figure rather than an allegorical image. It replaced the Indian head cent, and it quickly became a cultural and historical icon. From 1909 to 1958, The Lincoln cent carried the wheat reverse design known as wheat pennies, which today are among the most collected coins in America. Then from 1959 to 2008, the Lincoln cent featured the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, celebrating the sesquicentennial of Lincoln's birth in Washington, D.C., and solidifying its place as a coin of the people. Then came the year 2009, a milestone year marking the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent itself. To celebrate this event, the United States Mint released a special 4-design series, each design reflecting a different chapter of Lincoln's life. The first design, Birth and Early Childhood in Kentucky, depicts a log cabin representing the humble beginnings of Lincoln in Hardin County, Kentucky. The second design, Formative Years in Indiana, shows a young Lincoln reading a book while taking a break from rail-splitting work in Indiana. The third design, Professional Life in Illinois, portrays Lincoln standing before the Illinois state capitol as a lawyer and legislator. The fourth design, Presidency in Washington, D.C., shows the half-completed US Capitol dome as it appeared during the Civil War, symbolizing the challenges of a divided nation that Lincoln helped to reunite. These 4 designs were minted in large quantities and circulated widely, but collectors were quick to recognize the historical significance and began saving them from circulation. But what about the gold-plated versions? These are not official mint issues, but private. Companies saw the opportunity and began taking uncirculated 2009 Lincoln cents and applying a thin layer of 24-karat gold plating as a way to create special keepsakes. These plated coins were marketed through advertisements, magazines, and coin dealers. They were packaged in holders and often sold as limited editions to commemorate the bicentennial. Now, the question arises, are gold-plated 2009 Lincoln cents rare in terms of mintage? No, because millions of 2009 cents were struck, and private plating companies applied gold finishes to thousands of them. However, in terms of collectability, they hold unique value because they capture a moment in time. They represent the celebration of Lincoln's 200th birthday, and they appeal to new collectors who are fascinated by the gleam of gold on a classic penny design. To fully appreciate this coin, we must also look at the history of gold plating in numismatics. Gold plating of base metal coins has been a long practice used by jewelers, marketers, and private mints to create souvenir pieces. Though they are not legal tender variations, their artistry makes them attractive to collectors. For the 2009 Lincoln cents, the gold plating highlighted the intricate details of the 4 reverse designs, making the cabin, the young Lincoln, the State House, and the Capitol dome shine in a way that copper could not. Beyond their appearance, the 2009 Lincoln gold-plated pennies carry educational significance. Teachers, collectors, and historians often use them to spark discussions about Lincoln's legacy, the Civil War, the struggle for equality, and the importance of coinage in American culture. This makes them more than just novelty pieces, they are gateways to history. Now let us consider market values in the coin market. Official mint sets from 2009, including copper versions and proof sets, are highly sought after, while privately plated gold pennies usually sell for modest amounts, often between $1 and $5 each, depending on packaging condition and demand. Some companies graded and encapsulated these coins to make them appear more valuable, which sometimes confuses beginners in coin collecting. Nonetheless, experienced collectors know that the true worth lies in the story, and not just the plating. If we extend our view to Abraham Lincoln himself, we see why any coin bearing his image becomes instantly iconic. Lincoln is remembered for his leadership during the Civil War, his issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation, and his commitment to the unity of the nation. His tragic assassination in 1865 elevated him to martyrdom and cemented his place among the greatest American presidents. Thus, a coin celebrating his life, particularly in 2009, 2 centuries after his birth, is a direct link between past and present. Collectors also value these coins for their educational timeline. They represent the evolution of the Lincoln cent from wheat to memorial to bicentennial, and finally to the shield design introduced in 2010, which continues today in circulation. The gold-plated 2009 cent acts as a bridge between these eras and serves as a keepsake that many people still hold in their collections. Over time, these coins have become popular gifts for students, history enthusiasts, and patriotic Americans. They are often included in coin sets that feature stamps, portraits, and historical documents from the Civil War era, making them versatile collectibles. Though they are not rare in the numismatic sense, their sentimental and cultural value cannot be denied. So, when you hold a 2009 Lincoln Penny gold-plated edition, you are not just holding a piece of base metal with gold coating. You are holding a story of a man who rose from a log cabin to the White House. You are holding the history of a coin that has been in the pockets, purses, and hands of Americans for more than a century. You are holding a symbol of endurance, progress, and the timeless appeal of Lincoln. This is why the 2009 Lincoln Penny gold-plated edition deserves its place in coin collecting history, because it is more than just a plated coin. It is a shining tribute to the life and legacy of Abraham Lincoln and to the enduring power of the American penny. If we look deeper into Abraham Lincoln's life, we find that the choice of celebrating his bicentennial with 4 different coin designs was deliberate, because Lincoln represents different qualities at different stages of his journey. His birth and early life represent determination. His formative years represent hard work and curiosity. His professional life represents ambition and service to the public. And his presidency represents leadership and sacrifice. By placing all of these on a coin series, in 2009, the Mint created a visual biography that can be held in the palm of a hand. When gold plating was added, it gave the coins a commemorative shine that turned them into display pieces, often framed or stored in velvet cases. The coin collecting community responded to these coins with great enthusiasm. The U.S. Mint itself released proof and uncirculated sets in copper compositions for serious collectors, but the private sector responded by plating them, packaging them, and promoting them as limited edition keepsakes. Television advertisements, mail order companies, and coin dealers sold these coins in large numbers, yet many people still treasure them today because they mark a once-in-a-lifetime anniversary. 200 years since Lincoln's birth and 100 years since the Lincoln penny was first struck. Market trends for these coins are another interesting subject. In the first few years after 2009, demand was very high because people wanted to own a piece of the bicentennial celebration. Gold-plated sets often sold for $20 or $30, depending on the packaging and marketing. Now, more than a decade later, individual plated pennies may only sell for a few dollars, but the complete 4-coin gold-plated set, especially in original holders or display cases, still holds good value for casual collectors. While not a rare coin by strict definition, it has become what collectors call a historical keepsake or a conversation piece. Let us now consider the artistry of Victor David Brenner, whose initials VD appeared on the original 1909 Lincoln cent. His design of Lincoln's portrait has stood the test of time for more than a century, and it remains one of the most recognized images in American coinage. When the 2009 reverses were created, the engravers worked to match the dignity and style of Brenner's original portrait so that the new designs would harmonize with the old. This blending of history and artistry is part of what makes the 2009 penny special, and when gold plating highlights these features, it almost feels like a miniature medal or commemorative medallion rather than just a circulating cent.